All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of The Potential Project. I'm your host, Sean Calhoun, and if you're here, it's because you're ready to reduce stress, burn stubborn fat, and get your body working with you instead of against you. On this podcast, we're all about simple, no BS strategies for fitness, nutrition, and lifestyle. This way, you can feel strong, confident, and in control. I'll give you the tools, mindset shifts, and habits to help you look and feel your best without spending hours in the gym or stressing over every single meal. Now, let's get into it. All right, guys, welcome back. And I'm excited to talk about today's topic because it was bloomed from a walk that I went on the other day. So, the thought that popped up was that so many people are waiting for the perfect time to take action on their health, but that time doesn't exist. So, I'm going to take you back a few days, and I was on a walk without any headphones. If you don't do this, you should try it because some of my best thoughts and ideas come when I'm either in the shower or when I'm on a walk without any headphones. I know sometimes we can get some learning done or some good podcast that you listen to while you're on your walk. Maybe you're listening to this while you're on a walk. But I challenge you to take these walks without any distractions because it's going to allow your brain to process, let your subconscious come through, and it's going to solve a lot of your problems. Anyway, the thought that I was having on this walk was surrounding a concept, and this is going to be the concept of the entire call today, right? And it's that if you have a loan, we're using finances as an example. If you have a loan for $20,000, and let's say it's a loan for 15 years and you want to pay this off, that is a lingering thing on your mind that you want to solve. You want this to be gone, and it's kind of annoying, right? Even if you're not thinking about it all the time, you still know that you have to pay this off. And that causes some unease, right? So you think to yourself, well, I'm working hard. I have the ability to get a promotion next year. I'm going to make a little bit more money. You start thinking of ways that, you'll accumulate more money. And then one day you're going to have that $20,000 to then pay off the loan and things are going to be great. Well, we all know, even from hearing me say that scenario, that it's not going to happen that way. Your car might pop a tire, someone might get sick and you need to have a medical bill. Like, things are going to come up that will take up that extra money. And the point is that the better solution to try and pay off that $20,000 loan would be small chunks of money over time, whether that be $10 to $20 a week, if that's $100 to $200 a month. That is helping. And it's helping for two reasons. One is that if you're paying off that loan $100 a month, it will chip away at the amount that you have due, right? It's not going to be a huge dent, right? There's still principal and interest, but it's not going to be a huge dent, but it will make an impact. Number two, it's switching your mindset and your psychology that you're taking a proactive approach to getting rid of that loan. You are the person who's in control of that loan rather than that lingering ball of negative energy of the $20,000 that you owe weighing over you all the time. And you might say, Sean, how does this apply to me taking action with my health? Well, it's exactly the same thing. You might have a lingering symptom, right? Maybe it's you feel like you're a little overweight, or you've got diabetes, or you've got bloating and brain fog, or just crippling, energy fatigue, and you can't make it throughout the day without taking a nap, right? Something is off about your health. And that's the loan that we're talking about. And we're waiting for this perfect scenario where the stars are going to align, and then we can finally start taking action on our health to improve it. But just like the scenario with the loan, is that day is never going to happen, right? That day is today, right? And the fact is if we take small incremental steps over time, that's going to change our mindset, and that's going to lead us down the path of success, of improvement, of being in control of our life. So the reality is that your busy schedule, things you have to do with your family and your kids, travel, stress from work and social events, they're always going to be there. So if you keep waiting for things to calm down, you're going to be waiting forever. And every single day that you wait, the price of inaction goes up, right? The problems get worse. The sacrifice that you have to take, the amount of steps and the amount of effort that it takes to reverse this situation goes up over time. So I'm bringing this to your attention here today because, maybe you're someone who's been thinking that way. Maybe you're like, I got this problem going on and I'll wait till after the new year. I'll wait till Monday. I'll wait till, after my birthday, right? And these scenarios are always popping up in your head. But today is all about action. And I'm going to break down to you why the price of inaction is harming you and why this methodology and this thought process is happening in your life and how we can make a stance on it today, right? So again, we always tell ourselves, right? I'll start after the holidays, or once work slows down, then it'll be a good time for me. Or once the kids are back in school, right? You can input any one of these scenarios into your situation, because if you want to find an excuse, you're going to find one. They're all out there. I can make up excuses. You can make up excuses. And the bad part about it is there's some validity behind some of them, right? Some of them make sense. But the problem is when is your situation going to be important enough to where it doesn't matter what those scenarios are, because we're going to take action on it anyway, right? And the truth is your life is never going to just open up, right? You've heard the phrase, well, we all have the same 24 hours, and it's true, right? There's people who run multiple businesses, who have, a spouse and children. They go on vacations, like their life is very busy, but yet they still find a way to prioritize their health and take action on that. It's like, how? Well, it's because even if you don't do what they do, you're still going to fill up your day. You're still going to find some way to be doing something or to be busy, or whether you're productive or not, doesn't matter. You're going to fill up your time no matter what. So it's not that life opens up. It's that we just adapt to the new versions of our busy, of what our busy looks like. Because everyone's busy, right? And if you're not busy, you're probably not in a good space, right? You want to have something to do, but it's that we adapt to our new version of busy, right? I mean, I've seen women put off their health for months, years, waiting for that perfect window of time that just never comes, right? And then when they finally do decide to take action, they always say the same thing, is that they'd wish they did something sooner. They wish that they had acted on it when they first thought about it, right? And the problem that comes is that things don't just stay the same, right? We're either growing or we're getting worse, whether that's our health or our business. So that's why the real cost of waiting is that it's breaking down your situation physically and emotionally. How do I mean? I mean that because if you have an issue, whether that's a symptom like brain fog, fatigue, bloating, weight gain, right? And we're not taking action on that today to be proactive, that's going to respond with things like declining in energy and resilience. Your hormones can become even more imbalanced if there's an issue there. There can be a hit to your confidence and your motivation, because guess what? Some days you do wake up and you're motivated, and that's enough to get you to take action towards your problem. But the longer this goes down, the further it erodes away at your confidence and the lower it makes your motivation. And then there's just that quiet frustration, that lingering thought of feeling stuck, right? Like I said, back to the $20,000 loan. Like, you might be working hard, but if you're not making dents in that payment, it's still in the back of your head like, man, I still owe that money. Same thing goes with your health. It's like, yeah, you're working, you're still going and doing things for your family, but in the back of your head, you're like, nothing's changing with my weight. My energy is not improving. None of those things are making headway. And that's going to linger on your conscience and make you feel even more stuck, right? So every year you wait, you just lose time, right? Time feeling vibrant, confident, and in control of your health. And that's a price that you really can't calculate until it's too late. For that financial loan situation, you can calculate that. It's like, you have this much time left to pay on the loan. This is how much you have left over. For your health, you really can't quantify it in that way. And that's why it becomes so confusing, but it's even more powerful. Like, there's no price that you can put on your confidence, on your ability to have control over your life, and that vibrant energy and vitality that we all seek, right? We all want to wake up and having energy and be in control of our life and just be a vibrant force of energy in the world. We all want that. And if that's eroding away, there's no really price that we can put on the deterioration of that. So here's the point, is there's a myth of perfect timing, right? There's always going to be a vacation. There's always going to be a birthday. There's always going to be a busy week, right? There's always more time to work. It's just like we think, oh, we can never stop. work at 6 p.m. because I have to get stuff done. Well, guess what? Work is always going to be there. And if you allow it, you can get yourself to be busy 24 hours a day. So it's, are we willing to structure ourselves and set boundaries around these things in order to make progress? You know, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but I've done 75 hard 3 times, right? It's a mental toughness transformation challenge. And it's a program really that makes you stick to these core principles every single day for 75 days with no exceptions. There's a diet involved, there's drinking a gallon of water, reading a book. So there's multiple things that you have to do on a day-to-day basis. And if you don't do them to the exact formula that they're asking for, like one thing is to read 10 pages. And if you only read 9, you have to start over from day 1. So you have to do that for 75 days in a row. Hey, hope you're loving the episode so far. Thanks for spending some time with me. I got a quick favor to ask. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast because that's how I know you're getting value from the show. And this way, you never miss an episode. All right, now back to the show. Now, I'm not asking you to do this. I'm just using it for context. I've done that a couple times. And every single time I've done that, I've had to look at the calendar and say, oh man, what's coming up 75 days from now? Well, the reason why it's such a good challenge is because 75 days of your calendar is like 2.5 months. There's never a 2.5 month span in your life where there's nothing going on. There's a holiday, there's a birthday, there's a vacation, there's a wedding. There's something that's going to happen within 2.5 months. So I had to tell myself, okay, I'm not going to put this off until next week or next month because guess what? 2.5 months from there, there's going to be something too. So I might as well get this over with right now so that 75 days from now I can look back and say, man, that wasn't that long. And that's what I noticed is that you go through 2.5 months, 75 days, and you look back and you say, wow, that wasn't that long of time. I didn't really miss out on much. And look how I feel now. And that's the point that I'm trying to make is that in life, to transform your health, you need to build momentum, which comes from small daily thoughts and actions that lead into bigger ones, right? And momentum doesn't come from having more time. It just comes from making the time. And you have to get past the point that there's never going to be this perfect scenario, perfect lineup of days and calendar events and schedule that's going to say, you know what? Here you go. Here's your lane that you can finally start taking those actions towards improving your scenario. Now, I mentioned momentum comes from those small daily actions. And that's really what this boils down to, is the fact that we get overwhelmed. Like I said in the beginning, I keep coming back to this loan analogy. We think that one day we're going to have $20,000 and then we'll just pay off the loan, it's off our plate, and things are gravy. The same thing goes for our health. We think, you know what? Our schedule is going to be perfect. I'm going to have the best plan laid out. I'm going to have the highest amount of accountability, the best diet, the best workout plan. All the things are going to be in alignment. I'm going to have the schedule, and then finally I will do it. Well, that's ridiculous to think that that's going to happen, right? It's never going to happen that way. But what can happen is you start small and you build momentum. And you keep those commitments to yourself because when you do them, no matter how small, you're telling yourself, I'm the person who's in control of my health, and you'll start to be more aware of the improvements, right? Like things like drinking more water. How much water do you drink? Maybe you only drink 30 ounces a day and you're making it a point to drink 40 to 50. You're going to start to feel better energy, better hydration because of the more water, right? You're going to have better digestion. Things are going to start to improve. So you'll feel the physical effects of drinking more water. And number 2, you're going to be telling yourself like, damn, like I did that, right? Like I didn't realize how bad my water intake was. I paid attention to it. I tracked it. I increased it, and it wasn't that hard after, doing it for a couple weeks or a couple months. I'm the person who can hydrate themselves, right? And then you start adding more protein in your day, and you're like, you know what? I'm not going to do the whole day. Let me just start with my breakfast. And instead of having a bagel or just a piece of toast, you're like, let me have 2 eggs. And you're like, well, that wasn't that hard. And you start doing that on a consistent basis. Now you're going to see blood sugars balanced throughout the day a little bit more. Energy is sustained. Your fullness is sustained. You're eating less calories. And you start to see the side effects there, which are good. And then again, you reinforce the identity part of it. The belief goes up. The momentum goes up. And you're telling yourself, wow, I'm someone who nourishes my body. I'm someone who eats enough protein and gives myself the fuel that I need to thrive in the day, not just to get through to my next snack, right? Then you're like, let me start going for some walks. I want to get my steps up. And you're like, I'll just go for a 10-minute walk after dinner. And then you notice, man, I really felt good. Helped my digestion, helped me calm down and wind down after the day. It helped me get to sleep better. And I'm the person who moves their body. I like to go for walks. I really enjoy that. It gets me extra steps. It improves my health in so many ways. Just those 3 things can transform your entire life, right? That sounds so ridiculous for me to say, and it sounds like it can't be too good to be true. But if you increased and optimized your water intake, if you increased and optimized your protein intake, and walked after meals, my gosh, it would solve so many of your problems. But you think that you need to have the perfect schedule. You think that you need to have the perfect routine. You think that there's so much information out there online. You're waiting for all of these tactics and these habits to add up and to be so perfect for you that you'll finally take action once you've figured it all out. No, that's not how it works. We take imperfect action on a daily basis and build momentum over time because each small action compounds. And the moment you start, you're no longer waiting. You're becoming that person. You see that vision of yourself that you have. That person who's fit, that's vibrant, that has the body, that has the energy. You're already that person. You just need to take action on it right now. And then when you do, you're telling yourself that you are that person. You no longer have to wait for a certain amount of time. You no longer have to wait for the number on the scale to be a certain thing. When you take action in congruence with the identity that you choose, you're that person right there. When you go for that walk after dinner, you're that person. When you choose to have some protein for breakfast, you're that person. And the more you can do that, the more you're anchoring in the belief that that's your identity. And then over time, you just become that person. And it's no longer a struggle. And you no longer have to wait for the perfect time because you're making it into your calendar. You're prioritizing those walks after dinner. You used to just sit down and watch TV, but now you're someone who walks. Right? I talk about this all the time because, guys, if you already had the identity and the belief that you were someone who was healthy, you'd already be there. Right? I know that's hard to swallow, but it's the truth. Right? If you already believed all of those things about yourself, you would already have the answers and the results that you're looking for. But since you're not, it takes an approach of taking action on it right now. So, what's the cost? And I'm going to ask you guys these questions. You can either write them down or you can just ponder on them for a few moments, right? Let them sink in. First question is, what's the cost of staying where you are for another 6 months? Really think about that. If you were to not change a thing about your scenario for 6 more months, what does life look like then? And I'm not going to even start to throw out scenarios because in your head you're listening to this, you know what it would look like. Second question is, how will life look if you wait until next year? If you wait an entire year, what's your life look like? What's your schedule look like? What's your health looks like? What's your body look like? What's your confidence look like? Tell yourself that, right? Are things just going to miraculously change? And how bad will they get? And then the last question is, what could change if you started this week? Now, flipping the coin, right? Flipping our mindset. If you started this week, what's the headway you could make? What are the little actions that you could take? And what's the progress that could happen if you started today, if you started this week, this time next year, this time in 6 months? What could be different? And you play out those scenarios. And man, I don't know about you, but when I do this activity, it's a lot more enticing and it's a lot more exciting to envision that version of myself by taking the small actions today. Right? So realistically, I love this message, and I'm not going to say it verbatim from whoever first said it, but the best time to start was years ago. The second best time is right now. And the truth is, right now is all we ever have. The past is the past. It's already happened. We can't change that. You can't sulk in it. You can't try to live there. And the future is not promised, right? Every day is another day to get better. It's another day to be grateful that we're actually alive and that we have the current health that we do. Tomorrow something could happen. Car accident, we lose a leg, we pass away. I don't mean to be morbid, but this is life, right? Things happen. So if you're going to wait, you just don't know what's going to happen. Things could be totally different. But if you do take action today and you see yourself 6 months or a year from now with that built up momentum, I promise you the scenario, the opportunity is going to be better in that circumstance. Now, if you're someone that this has triggered a nerve and you're finally ready to stop waiting and create momentum in your health and in your life, that's exactly what I help my clients do. Now, you don't have to work with me because I can only work with a select few individuals and people who are at that point in their career, and not in their career, in their health journey. But I help you figure out what's the first step look like for you, what's going on internally under the hood. So if you've tried everything, if you've been to the doctors and you need that level of support and you're the type of person who's ready to take action now, then we can have a conversation about that, what that would look like. But until then, if you're not ready for that, then I still challenge you to take some type of action, whether it's going for that walk after dinner, whether that's getting some more water in your day, whether that's prioritizing your protein. You got to do something, right? And if you're not ready for a full coaching experience and go in depth into one-on-one, health transformation, that's fine. I don't want to work with someone who's not ready for that. But you are someone who needs to take action today in some way, shape, or form. So guys, I hope this resonated with you. And if it did, and you have questions, let me know. And if you need to, share this with a friend, because this message might not have been for you today. It might have been for someone in your life, your sister, your mother, your friend. Share it with them. Let this message resonate with them and allow them to take action so that they can start to improve their scenario. So guys, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next time. Hey, thanks for spending some time with me on today's episode. I hope you got a ton of value from it. If we're not connected on Instagram yet, let's change that. Hit me up at Sean Calhoun _. That's SEAN Calhoun _. Shoot me a DM. Let me know what you think of the show, or if you got any questions about how to level up your health. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on the next episode.